Hey, gentlemen and ladies, Brexit time again. I've left it for a while. We owned this space. The Reset Sniper owned this space. We called Brexit against 1:7 odds. That was a long time ago now. It feels like a long time ago, as in like 2.5 years ago. Now we're at the end of 18, still talking about it. A couple of other predictions we made while the Brexit election was happening. When the Joe Cox death happened, we said this is going to be spun and used against those that were voting for Brexit. And sure enough, it was. Leave Britain. Apparently, he screamed as he murdered this lady. Some slogan that meant some nationalist type statement. I can't even remember it. Foreigners out, Britain for English, or whatever the case may be. The whole narrative is just a complete concoction, complete fake gibberish. They tried to have a plane fly over with a banner to cause great shame when she was having a funeral, supposedly. I have all sorts of queries about that entire event's legitimacy, but I am withholding opinion and judgment. So it's a fascinating time, but despite that, the people showed out and they voted for breakfast. Breakfast! I want breakfast. Come on, it's about time. Brexit as well. They voted for Brexit, and that was shock and horror what nobody experienced. All the internet polling wizards suddenly fell out of bed. They were shown up for who they were. The fact that the urban areas didn't care how the rest of England was doing. The banker bailouts for the cartel, tertiary extracting, parasitic, vile ticks and leeches that suck the blood of real businesses with their conniving tricks are working their magic again in Australia, having sold interest-only mortgages and flicking them all at the top of the cycle to repayment. And they're doing the same again elsewhere in all the property bubbles. But lest I digress, the ticks and leeches are at their usual game and they were resented for it. Some of those stupid hicks from up north and in the countryside suddenly had actually got a better idea than they actually realized about the skullduggery of the cartel of central bankers and the primary dealers that serve them, and actually weren't voting as they were supposed to. Hence the almost Irish solution of vote again, vote again. The idiots never understood the question. This insane level of lefty pushback that said we are intellectual superiors. How did all these oiks take us out of this beloved union that no one can even tell us what we're paying for being a member in this club? It is this mystery, secrets, do not know, must not tell, but it's a lot. Anyway, despite all of this drama, we had this. I said it will be prostituted. Brexit will be prostituted. It was the most bizarre leadership contest where everyone who was a true Brexiteer shot themselves through the head, and the only person left standing was this Remainer female who's proven to be as limp-wristed as possible. And I said at the time, I did a YouTube clip, go look at it. I said it's Masonic about how they tell you they will screw you. In the opening statement, she said, Brexit means Brexit. And I did the YouTube and I said, that's exactly what's going to not happen. It's Masonic and adversarial, and it is to be inverted. I am here to foil your Brexit, I said. Her mandate is to foil it. There was a legal challenge that was funded by somebody, a wife of a hedge fund that was very close to, once worked for Rothschild Inc. Bank, etc., etc. All of this nonsense continued, each obstacle largely being swept away. She sat and did nothing for 2.5 years, folks. There's been very little of the negotiating. In fact, it's only recently in the last couple of months it's hotted up again. And actually, when I knew they were going to steal it, it was initially when the Brexit vote came out, there were howls from Europe. How dare you? And lots of vitriol. Then suddenly they went silent. Largely they went silent. Juncker, all of these people, they went silent. In other words, they were told, don't raise the ante. We've got this. Leave it to us. Our man's on the inside. Or maybe, Our woman is going to do the prostituting this time. And prostitute she has. Prostitute she has. Brexit has meant anything but Brexit on all the core points. And I'm not going to pick this apart. There's better people to do it for you. You can read. You can have a look at this article. ReesMogg will summarize quite well. So let's have a little listen to the Mogster, shall we? Here he goes.
My right honourable friend, and she is unquestionably honourable.
She is not.
Said that we would leave the customs union. Annex 2 says otherwise. My right honourable friend said that she would maintain the integrity of the United Kingdom. A whole protocol says otherwise. My right honourable friend said that we would be out of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. Article 174 says otherwise. As what my right honourable friend says and what my right honourable friend does no longer match, should I not write to my right honourable friend, the member for Altrincham and Sale West? This is not Brexit.
This is not Brexit. This is not Brexit. It is quite clearly not on all the points. You didn't hear it from me. You heard it in a hot potato sense from yours moggy, Jacob Rees-Mogg. And yes, indeed, he's actually on the Brexit issue quite in line. By the way, in case you think he's otherwise entirely cool, he's cool for now and on this issue. I'm afraid generally politicians, my good people, will fall apart. If you ask him about the Assange question and Russia, you will be very, very disappointed by our moggy. So before you let go in hate of the current one, which probably deserves all the bile and vitriol for being a limp-wristed, non-negotiating Trojan horse prostitute for selling a real remit down the river and doing what her control structure elements told her and her natural inclination told her to do, that is to do a massive botch-up job, ignore her primary reason for existence and her core primary mandate as Prime Minister entirely for most of her term so far. And by the way, she'll be speaking in about 30 minutes. And I wouldn't surprise me if, one, she's to resign or she's going to face a vote of confidence that could lead to her being forced out. If the vote of confidence wins and they actually try ram this non-Brexit deal down, I would expect immense discontent and snapback. But who knows? There might not be real recourse for this. You might end up having a split in the Conservative Party if it went that far. That's a real out there one, but who knows? But anyway, as much vitriol as she requires, Moggy would do the Brexit job. But don't expect other aspects of real liberty to occur. The Russia did the poisoning Skripal. I'm afraid he's a fail. The Assange permanently imprisoned for too much truth about the dark state services and what they get up to. I'm afraid our Moggy's pretty plugged in there, boys and girls. Don't fall so deeply in love. He may get you your Brexit though, and that might be enough for now. Okay, you got it from me. We predicted this stooge of a woman, this matron that they put in charge there, would be an absolute limp-wristed, non-Brexiteer solution. It is so bad that it stunk, and she was apologizing for it when she even introduced it in the first instance almost straight away. We knew that they were having a go with us. And even their own Conservatives are saying we ain't going to be able to sell that one and we won't get in power again if we bring that pile of poo to the electorate. So here you have it. Okay, guys, Brexit is still not an exit. And there's more drama to come. And one thing, they've bought 2.5 years and achieved absolutely nothing. A deal that doesn't do any of the core 3 things. Not from me, you heard it from the Mogster. 3 things. It's not got you out of the legal system, it's not got you out of the customs union, and it's not dealt with the borders issue and immigration. I can tell you, wow. You take 2.5 years to bring a deal that's essentially got all the components of the original deal, and you got to pay 39,000 millions. In other words, you make 39,000 bureaucrats in Brussels millionaires and give them £1 million each. That's 39 billion, folks. Really? And can anyone still tell us what we're paying to be part of this? It's an absolute crap pile. We want to hard out of it onto WTA rules. We don't want to talk to you. We ain't having any of this. We get out first and we'll negotiate on what terms we'll re-get back. Until then, WTO, by the way, if you get snotty, 40% on Mercedes-Benz, BMW, champagne and all the stuff that you send way more our way than we go your way, plus a tax on people going to tourism in Northern Europe, which will cycle back to the Southern European countries that have been totally blighted by the bankster cartel in Greece, in Portugal and Spain. And we'll divide and conquer you until the bottom half is eating the top half and saying these UK guys aren't half as bad. That is my Francis Hunt as PM solution. Yes, sir. And you might say, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous, difficult times. Let me tell you, all the fear-mongering coming out of the IMF, like bedwetters running out. Oh, any deal will be better than a hard deal. No, hard deal. Any deal will be better than a disorderly exit. I want this order. I want this order. Those guys have been sitting saying, we've got this with their stinky fish deal. I want full-blown disorder. The tables get turned over. They can pick up the goddamn pieces and start again. They need a proper crack about the jowls, serving up that crap deal with that huge freaking bill. They can go stuff off. We ain't having it. We buy their crap. They don't buy ours on anything like the same scale. They're lucky to have a business. We'll take it elsewhere. Get the hell out of here. That's the usual Francis rant on Brexit. The Remainers are going to hate on this, and that's okay. We don't need to be in the EU to travel to Europe. Your friends will still be your friends. You'll still be able to go on holiday. They're going to beg. They're going to beg for your pounds when they go in, and the euro is teetering. We don't need those euro banks. We don't need to pick up the bill for Italy. We don't need to pick up all those things. We can be a kind benefactor from afar, recycling Northern European largesse with their expensive products they sell into a country to the southern Mediterranean states. We can be moral leaders for the first time in a long time, and we can save our own goddamn nation and citizens from this absolute massive tick hanging from our underbelly, sucking our blood and taking us into illness, yellow fever, and everything else they give us. That's me done. Okay, guys, speak to you later. Brexit, Brexit, Brexit. Watch it. 5 o'clock. May, the bleating little salesman for the Rockefeller and Rothschild agenda. This is my deal. It's taken me 2.5 years of hard work and negotiating. We stay exactly as we are. Yay! What do you guys think? We don't like it. That's me. I'm gone. Bye. Addendum. In my rush to depart. A quick PS. The other aspect to the 2.5 years of delay is that it's allowed us to get to this very icky October beginning of reverberations generally, reset criteria that we predicted would be 34 months from the first interest rate hike in the US. And that has now led to stock market malaise, collapses in most asset classes, a real collapse in oil, a real collapse in property markets, as I mentioned, Australia, London, US, all slowing down. We are bumping into the wall. They have a planned, scheduled reset. They just need to keep us arguing and fighting, just as long as we don't have an agreed deal. This has all been one draw out of 2.5 years, this Brexit negotiation. If we now get turmoil in the Conservative Party, a new leadership race, we'll be navel gazing for another 6 months before we actually get somebody as Prime Minister. A new election might be called. All sorts of things can happen. They'll throw all the cards up in the air. More time gets bought while we are in potentially moving towards our global reset. And what that actually means is they win in the end. Eventually events can overtake Brexit, which will be far larger, far more ominous and far more dangerous, and we'll be stuck where we are right now. To be clear, as long as something isn't finalized, as long as you haven't declared you're leaving, triggered Article 50 and leaved and gone to the WTO rules, you are still stuck in the same old marriage, paying out of your ears on alimony mortgages and makeup kits for the EU. That's how it is. That's the addendum I wanted to remind you about. This is the concern. They tie you in a little longer. Even if you eventually are led by a Brexit person, the events can overtake Brexit, even bigger ones. And if you think there can't be, the great 2008 reset can be your warning. That might be a tremor. You might get the full-blown reset sniper event that we have taken our name from. Okay, that's your quick addendum, by the way. I sign off once again, more tamely, more quietly this time. Until next time, bye.